Okay, welcome back to the channel, guys. It's Oscar here again. Thank you for joining me for another video. This time we're going to be talking about 100% plastic cards versus plastic coated paper cards, which are your usual kind of generic casino cards. So let's get into it. But before we get into talking about the two cards, if you guys are new, it'd mean a lot if you could go down below and hit the little subscribe button and also hit the bell while you're down there. It only takes a second, and YouTube's telling me that 93% of you guys aren't subscribed. So at any point in the video, if you guys enjoy it, please go down below, like the video. If you get like a thought or something while watching it, go down in the comments, tell me what you thought, and what are your thoughts about the plastic cards versus plastic coated paper. So let's get into it. First things first, we're gonna talk about the plastic coated paper cards, which are your usual kind of casino kind of generic cards. So, and I'll show you guys kind of what the cards look like when they're open and everything. Okay, so first things first, I have the Arizona Charlie's. This is Arizona Charlie's Decatur, but Arizona Charlie's deck, and which was made by Aristocrat. And then I have the Copag 50th Anniversary WSOP cards, which was made by Copag. So I'll show you guys the side, or like a little side by side of the deck on the screen, and you guys can pretty much see what each deck looks like, kind of generic kind of view, kind of the index and everything like that. So let's begin with the Arizona Charlie's cards. So they're plastic coated paper, which are going to be used at every single kind of table game at a casino except craps and poker. So obviously in craps you don't need cards at all because you're going to be mainly throwing the dice on the table, and in the poker rooms usually they have 100% plastic cards, whether they're using chems or another company cards. But usually in a casino poker room you're going to be using 100% plastic cards that are either they're going to be bridge size, but either jumbo or standard index. Usually standard index, since that's the main go-to with like the World Series of poker cards, but sometimes they will opt into using the jumbo index. So the plastic coated paper cards, they're great, don't get me wrong about that, but they usually, once you start using these cards quite a bit, they start to show some wear and tear, and I mean they end up just getting used. So that's usual for cards, considering that they've been used in a casino once. As you can kind of see, they're marked up here, so they've been used, and the corners have been cut, as you can see. So once they do leave the casino, because they only get used for a couple hours, they get sent off to a factory where it gets the corners clipped off. Usually that is what happens, but sometimes casinos will tend to chip off the cards, and the cards won't get canceled with the with cutting of the corners. But I'd say probably 90% of the time that's how they do get canceled, with either a cut corner or they'll get rounded corners. Well, the cards have rounded corners, but they'll have a little bit more of a round to them, and it'll be easier to tell. Now, back in the day, they used to either punch the cards through the middle, which they don't do that anymore, and then they used to cut slits in the sides of the deck as well, but I'm not sure if they do that anymore. Companies usually making these plastic coated paper cards are going to be Paulson, Aristocrat, and B. Those are like the main manufacturers. The one reason they don't use these cards in the poker room is because they weren't really meant to be folded or lifted up like you do in a poker game when you're checking your hand. The cards tend to stay folded, so I mean I could kind of show you. This is like this is, I guess, a blank card of the deck, so I'll show you. So if I bent this all the way back, see how it doesn't go all the way flat like it should? You'd have to manually, I mean, even when I did that, it didn't go flat, but now it's flat again. So usually when you're checking your hand, like in poker, they don't want to use these cards since it'll stay folded like that. Also, it's a lot cheaper to buy these cards in general over the plastic coated paper because they're cheaper to produce. It's only paper that you're using I'm not sure how it's made, but it's a paper base that I'm not sure if they spray plastic onto it, or I'm not sure how it's done, but it's way cheaper to make these decks than these decks. They're great collectibles from casinos if that's why you buy them, but they do tend to wear a lot quicker than the plastic cards in general. That is, if you're using them often, like casinos are using these every day on a daily basis. That's why they switch them out every few hours. But if you're playing at a home game, let's say you play just for fun, using these decks wouldn't be a bad idea. But if you're constantly playing something like poker, you'd want to upgrade to the plastic cards. So yeah, that's what the plastic coated paper cards. So let's get into the 100% plastic cards. So these are 50th Anniversary WSOP cards made by Copag, and Copag is the official I guess you could say, the official card of the World Series of Poker for the past, I think, 3 or 4 years. So these are plastic cards, and you could tell immediately right as you take them out of the box that there's a difference between how they feel. And like I said, most poker rooms and casinos are going to be using something similar to this. So as you can see, this is the plastic card. Put it up against the plastic coated paper card, which they're going to be using this in blackjack, baccarat, and any other table game that needs the cards in a casino. But usually poker rooms are going to be using this, which is called the bridge size. So as you can see, the plastic cards are a lot thinner and the plastic coated paper is thicker, or I mean wider. So bridge size, usually standard index, like I was saying earlier. So with these cards, I'll show you, you can bend it all the way back. It'll go flat like it should. Let's say you're doing your little checking your hand in poker. It'll stay completely flat after you check it. You won't have to bend it again. And you can use these cards for way longer before they start showing any type of wear. I mean, that's one reason I kind of like them. I mean, I'm not playing games at home like too often, but it's always nice. It's nice to have a deck like this where you know you can constantly use it if you are doing anything, and it won't show any type of wear. It'll almost look brand new every time you pull it out of the package. So then I looked up something. I was wondering if you were able to clean these cards or the plastic coated paper. So I heard once that somebody wanted to clean these plastic cards, and I looked it up. You can use a damp towel and just kind of wipe off the surface or whatever is dirty on them. I'm not sure if you can do it with the plastic coated paper cards since they are paper based, but I have seen a deck that was, I'm not sure if it was submerged in water or the outside the box of the deck got wet or something like that, but it almost seemed like all the cards were stuck together like this, and it was impossible to pull them apart because they technically warped into each other. Now that's because the paper, I'm sure the paper had some type of chemical reaction with the water and just made them stick all together, and it was like a brick. So in a collector's eyes, if you're a collector of casino memorabilia or anything like that, I'd say buy these decks because they're going to have the casino name on the front like these do, and I mean, it's not going to be as expensive if you're going to be buying plastic cards. So in a collector's eyes, I'd say buy these over the plastic cards because they'll usually have the casino name printed on them, like I said. So the plastic cards, I'll show you guys Copag's website on the screen, but they usually tend to have kind of generic designs and colorways on the decks. And I believe it's pretty rare if a casino goes out of their way to get their casino name printed onto the plastic cards, because I know it gets pretty expensive if you start doing that. So like I said, if you're gonna be playing like a couple games, maybe like 7 or something like that at home, go with the plastic coated paper cards because it'll save you a bunch of money. Now if you're running a poker room, or if you're doing poker home games quite often, maybe a couple times a week, I'd say invest in the 100% plastic cards, since it'll save you money in the long run, but also you'll like these cards a lot more since you are bending them, folding them, looking at your hand. You're going to want to get these cards because they'll go flat after you bend them, like I showed you earlier. I'll show you again. So bend it all the way back, and then it goes back flat. So I highly recommend you getting these. So I think I hit every single kind of topic like I was going to talk about. Let me know your guys' thoughts about the plastic coated paper decks and the plastic decks. Let me know which one you guys kind of prefer, or you guys like more, maybe in like a collector's eye versus a person that plays poker quite often during the week. So that's gonna wrap it up. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know your comments down below, and like I said earlier, if you guys aren't new or you like the video, go ahead and go down below, subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. It's been Oscar, and peace.